morning, guys. We are going to use the calculator to find the maximum and the minimum of a polynomial. And specifically, we're going to use a polynomial from an assignment we've been working on in class that you guys had already turned in. And that was problem number 1 about the roller coasters and polynomials. And it was on the pink paper, FYI. So, first we're going to type this in the calculator so I can graph it. So you go to y equals. And you're going to type in 0.3. Now, there's no T button. Actually, there is, but everybody freaks out because it types in X. That's actually a good thing. So even though there's no X's in here, the calculator can treat the X the same way it would treat a T, so it's fine. So 3x to the third power minus 5x to the second power plus 21x. Alright, and remember that this button over here, that caret, that is the button for your exponents. So, let's hit graph. Hello, graph. You don't show me very much. You don't show me the important stuff. And I have students all the time tell me that, Miss Slater, you don't know, this isn't graphing right, or it won't do what I want. And all that's happening is you're only seeing a part of it. It's like seeing a picture of somebody's ear and then saying they don't have eyes. Well, you're only seeing a picture of part of them, and that's okay. So we're going to figure out how to zoom in on the right stuff. The important part for this particular problem, it was talking about in time from 0 to 10 seconds. So on our x values on here, we really only care about from 0 to 10. So we could go in and we can change our window, the x min to 0 and the x max to 10. Okay, and you go into window right there. Now, we haven't talked about the y's, so let's look at the table of points. Remember, to get to the table of points, you hit second, graph. There's our table of points. So let's look at the x's from 0 to 10. Well, here's 4 to 10. Let's see, what's the highest y value? The highest in here is like 23, and the lowest is 1 something. So let's look at the other part. It's only 4 through 10. Let's look at 1 through 4. Or 0 through 4, I should say. Oh, our lowest is 0, and the highest is actually 26.1. Okay, so we're definitely talking about y values. And actually, in this equation, it's not a y, it's an h. So we're talking about h values, because this is about height, that go from 0 to, under 30 for sure. If you want to be more precise, you can, but let's just count it under 30. So we're really talking about, if we're going to graph it, and it's x and y, 0 to 10 for x, and 0 to 30 for y. So let's change those, the y minimum to 0, and the y maximum to 30. Now this SCL, that's the scale. And that's just talking about, okay, if I was going, from 0 to 10, the x scale, I could make it by 1s, I could make it by 2s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could make it by 10s if I wanted to. And that's what's asking, what scale do you want this to go by? How many does each mark count for? And I'm just going to leave them for 1s on both of these. It's really fine, either way. Then hit graph and make sure that we can see a good picture of what's going on. Yeah, that totally makes sense on from 0 to 10. I can see everything I need to. Let me just draw a terrible little sketch. And again, if I told you to graph it, oh yeah, that's bad. If I asked you to graph it, that does not mean sketch. This is a sketch. There's no points. If you're asked to graph an equation, you need to use actual points, and you could use the table of points from over here to do that, right? You could start with 0, 0, and then 1, 16. All right? So now we've got our good graph in the calculator. Now I need to actually find the max and the minimum. And when we talk about that, we're actually going to be talking about the relative max and the relative minimum. And that just means, in layman's terms, a max is going to be the top of a hill, and the minimum is going to be the bottom of a valley. That's pretty much all that means. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick on here in the calculator, but it's going to immediately ask you questions instead of give you answers. It's going to say, okay, where do you want me to look? Because your poor calculator, it can tell you any number you want, it just doesn't know where to look. Or we can look at this and go, it's right here, just tell me the number. Calculator is the opposite. Calculator can give me any number you want, but you need to tell it where to look. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, I think there's a maximum right here. Let me use different colors so you can see it better. I think there's a maximum here. So look in this area, between here and here. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit 2 buttons. Second, trace. And that is going to get us to a menu that's called calculate menu, which is annoying because it's all calculator. Why aren't they all called calculate menu? Or give them some other name. So second, trace, gets you to this calculate menu. And in here, if we're looking for the maximum, oh yeah, look at that. Maximum. So we're going to pick number 4, and you can either arrow down and then hit enter, or you can just hit the number 4 in there. So I'm going to hit enter, and poor calculator starts immediately asking questions. It says, where do you want me to look? How far left do you want me to start looking? Well, I got to go to the left. If this is where I think the maximum is, I have to put my little blinky dot to the left side of it. And it doesn't matter where on the left side, as long as it's on the left side. And of course, the closer it is, the more accurate it'll be, but you just want to be careful. So go to the left side, to the left, to the left. All right, that's good. We're on the left side of that hill. And I'm going to hit enter. Then it's going to ask me a question again. It says right bound. All right, little calculator, you got to look on the right side. So we're going to move it to the right side of that mountain. And by the way, you probably shouldn't call that a blinky dot. You should probably call it something more official like cursor, because that's what it is. But as long as it's on the right side now, since it said right bound, right side of that hill, we're good. Hit enter. And then guess, they're asking us, where do you think it is? Right here. So I'm going to move the blinky dot to here so that it knows approximately where to look. And then hit enter. And let's say we're going to, oh, this little thing is starting to think. So let's round to 3 places. So 2.811 and 26.189 moves it up, so 6. So there's our maximum. The x is 2.811 and the y is 26.186. 2.811, 26.186. Ba, ba, ba. And now we can do it for the minimum over here. It's the same idea. We're going to go into second trace, except this time we'll pick minimum, number 3. And then it asks the left bound again, so I want the left of this bottom valley. This is on the left, but it's kind of far away, so let's get it closer. So let's see if I can do this without messing up. I might just hit pause and come back to you. Okay, I just kind of skipped forward a little bit for you. And there we are. We're down here on the left side, pretty close. Hit enter. Then it asks right side, so you got to go over to the right side. Alright, now we're on the right side of the bottom of that hill. Valley. And then it, just as a hint, it does give you these little arrows to show you that you've told it to look between here and here on the graph, which is good because my spot I'm looking for is between there, so we're good. And now it asks for guess, so I gotta go back. Can't really see it because it's behind the numbers, but that's okay. I know it's around in this area right now, so I'll hit enter. And then voila, it tells me 8.2997. That's going to round up to 300. And 1.386. And there you go.